The 80s are responsible for some of my favorite things. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ecto Cooler, The Cosby Show, and ridiculous theme-based slashers. Speaking of which, Iced is a 1988 horror film from director Jeff Whitney. The movie opens with an angry skier and an awesome 80s synth score. Nothing, and I mean nothing, screams 80s cheese like a Casio. We cut to some skiers coming down the mountain with road flares for some reason. Is this footage from a cable access show in Colorado? This guy totally eats it. I guess they couldn't afford to reshoot. Oh no, another movie with college students in their 30s. Raccoon Suit Mario? Corey's trying to make some moves with Trina, but this upsets Jeff, who's in love with her. Jeff challenges Corey to a race, and whoever wins gets Trina. This is the plot to just about every movie about skiing ever. They make it to the top of the mountain and start the race. Engaging crotch cam. Maybe race down the mountain isn't the right words. More like leisurely glide down the mountain. Corey cuts off Jeff and he wins the race. Now see, Jeff didn't listen. If you pizza when you're supposed to french fry, you're gonna have a bad time. Back at the bar, the college kids are celebrating Corey's victory. Jeff heads to another bar and is talking to a mysterious unseen person, or possibly himself. So Jeff is laying in bed and hears Corey and Trina. No guy that just lost the girl they're infatuated with wants to hear this. This is a lot of nudity. Drunk and humiliated, Jeff staggers up the mountain to go night skiing. Jeff skis down the mountain, but doesn't make it too far. Apparently, Jeff was killed that night. 4 years later, Corey and Trina are married.
Dear Mr. and Mrs. MacGyver, I still love the sound of that.
Holy shit, who wouldn't? The MacGyvers are traveling back to Snow Peak with their friend Jeanette. Are they even in the same vehicle?
Glad we could all get in on the same weekend.
Yeah, I'm ready for the hard sell.
They're headed to the mountain to meet with a guy about a timeshare sales pitch. Timeshares aren't usually the subject of horror films. The rest of the group is headed up separately to meet them at the cabin. Eddie takes a shortcut but gets stuck in the snow. Someone wearing Jeff's skiing outfit takes a front loader and does a burnout on Eddie's body. Good thing for the killer that he crashed exactly where the front loader was parked. The MacGyvers finally make it to the cabin.
Oh, it's so cozy. So natural. I love it.
She's acting like she's never seen a couch before.
Wonder what the bedroom's like.
Let's go there then. In real time. Jeanette goes to the bedroom and is jumped by Carl. Corey and Trina rush in and Carl jumps Trina. Could you maybe not mount my wife? They get a call from Alex Bourne, the timeshare salesman. He sets up a time to meet with the group that evening. Jeanette tells Trina that Alex sounds hot and now she hopes that Eddie doesn't show up. And just in case we forgot who Eddie was, John and Diane are on their way to the mountain. God, remember these things? Carl and Corey are frolicking in the snow. Just a couple of cowboys on a mountain? Not gay at all.
Matter of fact, we're all alone. Hey, when was the last time?
Not gay at all. The thrills don't stop there as we see Jeanette chopping onions while Trina lifts weights. The villain stares down the guys in evil skier vision. Over in the office of the Bored Identity, Alex Bourne is having a flashback to Jeff's fatal accident. John and Diane make it to the cabin. They're happy to see them, and John is happy to see Trina's boobs. Corey and Carl make it back to the cabin. Carl heads to his room so he can angrily do some coke. I don't think it's a good idea to use a razor in the nude. He hears a noise and goes downstairs to find himself sleeping, and then he wakes up. So he had a dream that he was doing coke? John goes to get Carl and finds he has a gun. Carl flips out and takes it back. The group's sitting around having dinner. To punctuate that fact, the director makes sure to get breadsticks in the foreground of every shot.
And it was snowing, wasn't it?
No, in the summer, idiot.
Maybe it's not the best idea to mouth off to the armed cokehead.
You know, one of those flicks where the only time you watch the screen is if there's someone naked or someone getting killed or both?
Yes, yes.
I'm starring in one of those right now. So Trina spends a good 10 minutes talking about how when she was younger she had no boobs, but now that she's older she has big boobs.
My tits were soggy from the rain.
Then she yells at Carl for staring at her boobs?
Quit staring at my chest.
Alex imagines he's having sex with Jeanette. He gets out of the tub, and in case you weren't sure who the killer was, here's a huge clue. Jeanette's getting all sexed up for the arrival of Alex. Well, the 80s version of sexed up. Those underpants are so big she might as well just be wearing shorts. The born idolatry shows up and explains the timeshare to the group. Jeanette wastes no time sinking her talons into him. If she gets any closer to the fire with that hair, she's going to reenact a Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial.
I've been everywhere, done everything. I guess you might say I'm just a jaded LA thrill seeker.
Somehow I don't think jaded LA thrill seeker when I see the words timeshare salesman. Alex tells them that Jeff was on the invite list and they all freak out.
Stay until it stops snowing.
It's supposed to snow all night.
I know. At least have a brandy before you go back out into the cold.
Yes, don't go out into the icy roads sober. John gets a call for an emergency C-section, so he has to leave. Diane gets in the car and the killer chases her. Like some kind of snow ninja, he drops down from the roof and stabs her with an icicle. The killer then heads out into the woods to hide some bear traps in the snow. Jeanette decides to take a nude dip in the hot tub. What the movie lacks in kills, it more than makes up for in nudity. The killer throws an electric heater in and kills her. Carl hears the screams and looks out to see the killer. He chases after him, only to be led right into the bear traps. Corey wakes up to have some pie, but gets stabbed in the chest. Trina gets up and finds Jeanette dead, and then she finds Corey wounded on the floor. So she stops to put on a jacket, but not pants? She finds Carl's body and takes his gun. Instead of calling the police or the paramedics, she calls Alex. Trina falls asleep and the killer moves in to get her. How do you sneak up on someone while wearing snow boots? And how do you fall asleep when you know there's a killer around and all your friends are dead? The killer's unmasked and it's Alex. He explains he was friends with Jeff and was talking to him the night he died. He followed him down the mountain but fell and broke his leg so bad that it had to be amputated, which ended his Olympic career. Trina kicks Alex off her, Corey shoots him and he falls out the window. This fall's supposed to kill him, but it looks like he has a very soft landing. Five years later, Corey, Trina, and their kids are making a snowman. This ending is... what? The movie was filmed in Utah. This was director Jeff Whitney's first movie, and he only did 3 other movies. The delightfully cheesy Beyond the Door 3, the Lifetime movie Lightning in a Bottle, and White Cobra Express, which was announced, but may not actually exist. In 1982, Joseph Allen Johnson, who played Alex, and Deborah DeLizio, who played Trina, both starred together in the Slumber Party Massacre. DeLizio also starred in the classic cult horror comedy Dr. Caligari with the lovely Laura Albert. On top of being the killer in the movie, Joseph Allen Johnson was also the writer. The biggest name in the film was Lisa Loring, who's best known as Wednesday in the original Addams Family. She was a pioneer in the whole child actor grows up and stars in a horror movie and gets completely naked. The movie's also known as Blizzard of Blood, but I think Iced is the more suitable name, since it doesn't have a massive kill count. This movie fits perfectly with other silly low-budget horror films of the time. In fact, this would be a great triple feature with other mall-haired slashers like Aerobicide and Slaughter High. The directing was okay, but I wish he took advantage of the location more. Most of the film took place inside the cabin. It took a while to get to the killing, but at least once they got there, they were creative. The icicle to the face was good, even if we only saw the aftermath, and the bear trap one was just brutal. There was a couple of things that didn't really make sense, though. For example, why was Alex imagining having sex with Jeanette when he knew he was going to end up killing her? He seemed obsessed over it, and she seemed willing. I'm pretty sure he could have gotten that in, and then killed her. Another thing is, when Jeanette gets the call from Eddie, Alex is right there. So, who was the one that called?
He said, I'm here with Jeff now.
Wait, what's going on? Eddie just called.
She said it sounded like Eddie, so he went through all the trouble to find someone who sounded like her boyfriend to call her and freak her out. The other thing was the incredibly ridiculous ending. But that was just a weird staple of 80s slashers. They always needed to have the killer survive somehow to get that last scare in, no matter how absurd. The movie had that perfect 80s synthesizer sound. I was surprised to find that composer Dan Milner hasn't done much beyond this except for Airwolf and American Gladiators. The music was well done, and the main theme was quite catchy. Some people have complained that the movie's slow, and I can understand that to a certain degree. The first hour only has one off-screen kill, and it isn't until around the 62-minute mark before the kills continue. I didn't mind, though. This was back when horror movies focused on building tension and not trying to startle you with loud noises and jump scares. While yes, the film was slow, I didn't think it was boring. The characters were interesting enough, and just when you thought things might get dull, they'd have Loring take off her clothes again.
Jeff!
You fuckers!